The coalition is accusing the government of adopting an appeasement model towards Hezbollah and breaking step with key allies like the United States when it comes to supporting Israel. Our political reporter Cameron Reddin live in the studio, and Peter Dutton with very strong language today on this.
Yeah, and really seizing in a difference on language too, Kieran, between the Australian government and the United States when it comes to this ground invasion that Israel is carrying out in Lebanon to try and drive Hezbollah away from the border and diminish its military arsenal. We've seen yesterday the United States talk about the necessity of that action. In Australia, Penny Wong, the Prime Minister, and also the Deputy Prime Minister talking about the need for an immediate ceasefire, but also holding out hope for a diplomatic solution. And the Deputy Prime Minister on radio earlier this morning reiterating the government's position that is supporting a 21-day ceasefire to allow diplomacy to take place, with the hope that that ceasefire will end much of the violence and carnage that is still ongoing around that border with Lebanon and Israel. I want to play you some of the comments this morning and then the response from the Leader of the Opposition in the last hour or so, Peter Dutton, who believes that the language coming out of the Australian government now in relation to Israel's ground offensive in Lebanon is essentially adopting an appeasement model and is breaking step with not only the United States, but many other allies around the world that have backed in Israel's military action.
We're not about to deny countries' rights to defend themselves. That said, we have added our voice to an international call led by the United States for a 21-day ceasefire. This is the moment for diplomacy.
If Richard Marles wants to go down the appeasement path of Anthony Albanese, that's an issue for him. Penny Wong's out there calling for restraint. The Prime Minister's calling for Israel to step back. Israel is facing an existential threat of extinction.
Cam, the government's also worried about potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of Australian citizens being stranded in Lebanon.
Yeah, the concession is basically that the government doesn't believe they'll be able to get everybody out, but also that many thousands of people just do not want to leave at this stage. And one rare unity ticket, I suppose, on this issue between the two major parties is that people should leave Lebanon now if they are Australian citizens, if they are a family of Australians, that they need to get out now. RAAF Hercules has been flown to Cyprus as a contingency measure to potentially get more Australians who are stranded out. You can only fit a bit over 100 people on a Hercules, though. There are roughly 15,000 Australians in Lebanon at any one time. And the Foreign Minister noting this morning that about 10% of those, 1,700 or so, have registered with DFAT, saying that they want assistance to get out. Now, we can show you what the current arrangement of commercial flights is. Some managed to get out earlier in the week. There's another flight today that the government has organised where 80 seats are available, but at last count, only 35 of those have been taken up. There are two more flights scheduled for Saturday that could take around 500 people out of Lebanon. But as the Foreign Minister notes, all of that depends on what happens over the next 72 hours or so, whether the conflict in that area worsens, and at any point the Beirut airport could shut and those remaining avenues out of Lebanon could close at any time.
Obviously, the operation of these flights will be subject to the security situation and, of course, the airport in Beirut remaining open. What I would say to Australians who wish to leave, please take whatever option is available to you.
So it's still early in the morning in Beirut. This is a live shot at the moment, Kieran. There have been reports of more explosions over the last few hours, early in the morning as well. No sign of this, obviously, scaling back anytime soon. And that message has been going for weeks now from the government. Get out if you can, that window is now rapidly closing.
Cam, thank you.